Hello. You guys might or might not know me, but all that we both know is that you are a fan of the series Dr. Lom. I'm doing something I like to call a TDP or a too detailed prediction. Also, if the format looks weird, I apologize. It has been a long time since I actually used CapCut. Let's jump right into the second chapter. Now let me explain my reasoning. The motive of this chapter would be their phobias or fears being turned into reality. Each day a random person would have to fight their fear or phobia, which makes me realize Michi is suffering with this motive. He has two phobias, dude. Anyways, let's get straight into why they were killed. Since the motive of the chapter was their fears, and Nikolai's fear is losing the Nori doll, and according to Nikolai lore, Nikolai can act very aggressively and mean without the Nori doll. And Victoria is a nice person. Victoria could try and help him, but it leads to her death as Nikolai is too mad to see with morality in his eyes. In Nikolai's backstory video made, he was seen throwing furniture or at least a lot of objects around the house. He could damn well also do that or just use brute force and strangle Victoria. Honestly, this can happen with any nice person, but the main reason I think it could happen with Victoria is the Two of Hearts video and process of elimination. I felt like that was a huge death flag, and I don't feel like Charlotte would kill someone over this motive, as I don't know her phobia. Otoko feels too important to kill off right now, and I'm keeping Oto alive for a reason that shall be stated later. That's why I feel like the next victims of the death game are Victoria Gaustaud and Nikolai Chiba. Now for the execution. Nikolai Chiba, ultimate puppeteer. The fall of the king. Nikolai Chiba executed. Nikolai is transported into a royalty-like room, but he wasn't inside it. He was outside of it holding strings on his fingers. It was a puppet of Victoria. The puppet was standing in a throne. Various puppet villager-like puppets appeared, seemingly demanding justice and food and saying Victoria was such a bad queen. Nikolai's job was to make the right decisions to Victoria, but being queen is difficult. Nikolai, with his low temper, made the villagers mad and they attacked the puppet, ripping, scratching and hurting the puppet. Nikolai could feel Victoria's pain, like a voodoo doll. It was like getting eaten alive. Nikolai's efforts to escape were in vain because of the injuries, so the villagers killed the doll, leading to Nikolai's death. Now for chapter 3. The motive, which would be of the despair disease, would make so everybody acted completely different from who they are and fuck up their morals. And something that would make it more crazy is that the disease would only end when the trial ends, different from the original. To have its own twist. G and Taylor being killed here are all part of the masterminds of this case plan. Taylor is a detective are already smart as fuck people, and the motive would make him more serious and stern about this situation, which would make him more of an issue in the trials. G died because of two reasons. 1. Hayate because of the motive would want to kill someone that would cause more distrust in the group, since the despair disease would make him want people to die. 2. G for me is too suspicious to stay alive any longer. She's a child in a killing game. She is very quiet and emotionless, and remember in the movie's event, she suggested the Hunger Games, which is similar to a killing game. This part is more of a stretch, but it's okay. Because at this point we're doing yoga. But I don't think a child would be such a cruel mastermind that is this killing game's mastermind, which I think she knows something we don't. I think killing her in chapter 3 would make sense. Now for the culprits. Boy, this is a crazy case. I like it. It makes no sense, but trust me. Hayate, as already stated, had the despair disease, which turned his will to protect others as a sergeant to a will to kill people, the disease made Mizue want to use her ultimate more and more to the point of wanting to kill someone, but if she was the killer, she wouldn't be able to use her ultimate at full potential, which made her think of a plan to use someone else as a weapon, and that person was Hayate. Now Robin in this situation is crazy. Robin is a witness that saw the dead body of G while she was still alive. He tried to help her with kind intentions, but what he knew was lobotomy, but when he did it killed G, making him technically her killer. But since the rules, Atlee asked of the canon games if I'm 100% sure, which I think I am, the killer that killed first is counted, so the only death that would count would be Taylor, which means Hayate would be executed. This would cause despair in everyone since the person who was supposed to protect them killed someone and it wasn't even their fault. Worst part of it is that the mastermind of the case gets to survive Mizue, which I think would be a despairful outcome. 3. Execution. A sergeant last call. Hayate Yanabu ultimate sergeant. Executed. Hayate is grabbed by the neck flying toward the skies. When he lands he is set into something that looks like a war field. Dead bodies were everywhere, blood was flying, things that looked like mannequins were running around in desperation for survival. Hayate needed to get out. He doesn't want to die, but when he started running bombs started exploding. T was a massive minefield. Hayate desperately ran and ran, but to no avail as the sounds of the explosions made him dizzy and he accidentally steps on a mine and dies. Now to chapter 4, which is very silly. The motive this time was actually something I made and wasn't discussed in the server I'm in, the dead bodies of the dead classmates being shown off like displays in a museum for everyone to see. They were reeking and rotting and they were all forced to see. Now for the victims, a suicide would be perfect for a Fangan like this. The concept is literally losing your mind. And why Robin, you may say? Well, in the last chapter it was discovered that Robin accidentally killed G trying to save her. That shattered his world since he discovered that doing lobotomies on kids is a bad idea. With his world shattered, the guilt of killing G and the rotting corpse of G just there, he was bound to break. Now for the actual murder of this. I killed Nahishi here for some reason. 1. Nahishi would be an easy person to kill. Nahishi sometimes spends the time alone in a dark room to read. That would literally be the perfect time to kill him off. 2. Angst factor. Chris, don't kill me. Nahishi is friends with Tazarin, Odo and Amaya. It was time for that little friend group to end. Wouldn't the best way to do this via killing the person who is friends with all? Now why Michioki? You might ask. Well, Michioki was fucked the moment both Mitsuba and Vishnu died in the same chapter. I was just prolonging his death. Michioki has a phobia of death. In a situation where you need to see the dead bodies of 2 of your friends rotting, still stinking, he was bound to break. Michioki is someone who likes to cover his true emotions. Having these emotions covered for so long is unhealthy and could cause bad thoughts to be put into Michioki's mind. Since it's discovered in the trial that Robin died first, why is Michioki getting executed? Well, like I said, Michioki wouldn't be in his best sense of mind here, so I felt like he could go crazy in fear and do something that breaks the rules, like trying to hurt Amethyst. And then he gets executed. 3. And since the mastermind wasn't planning to kill Michioki, they would use Robin's planned execution just for the extra despair factor. BTS. 3. The brain twist. Robin Fairchild ultimate lobotomist executed. Michioki is dropped into a dark hospital room. He seemed to be tied into a chair. There were a lot of medical instruments there and lobotomy instruments. Michioki fits the puzzle pieces together and out of fear tries to get out of the chair. His struggle was imminent and everyone was afraid to even look as the lobotomy started. This wasn't an execution anymore, it was plain torture. After a while the screaming stops, and Michioki feels numb, everything feels numb. Okay, now this part isn't going to contain motives like the other ones since I have no idea of what to do as a motive, anyway. Why these two dying right now in game? Well, I think this is the perfect place for them to die. Otoko is suspicious as of the whole note thing on cigarette duet, which would make it the perfect time for them to die right now. Maybe she rebelled and the mastermind needed to get her out of the way, something along those words. We can't let someone with such good information live, right? And for Charlotte as the killer, well, it's to cause despair on the protag specifically, as Charlotte is one of the only friends of Mika still alive, and it can't be Hugo for a reason I'm gonna talk about later. Seeing someone so close to the protag kill someone, it would truly make Mika despair or maybe even lose her mind. Okay, now, I would like to apologize for this, but I didn't really make an execution for Charlotte. I couldn't really think of anything. Charlotte is a Discord odd, which makes it difficult to know information on her. Also, Heiress is a difficult talent to make a execution on it. It's just such a boring talent, you know. Anyways, sadly we will have to skip the execution and jump right into chapter 6. Okay, what I might say might seem crazy, but listen to me, buddy. This also doesn't have a set motive. BW. Let's talk about the victim. First, Amaya Kali Ultimate Animator. Well, why am I killing her in the last chapter? Amaya is too powerful since she has literal brainwashing powers. The mastermind couldn't let this happen, but they kept her around since she was a funky fellow and made things more interesting. But it was time for her to go. Her power was actually being useful for everyone, and the mastermind couldn't let that shit happen. Now, why Mika as the culprit? You can say all you want that she can't be the culprit since she's the protag, but Ked was the protag and she died, didn't she? Also, this whole concept is of people losing their minds. Wouldn't it be cool to see with our own eyes in our own point of view someone going crazy? That shit is so bad out of context. That's what I'm thinking about with this concept. Seeing someone go crazy. The person who also helped everyone in the trials kill someone. That shit would be insane. I don't have much to say, expect it would be cool to have a plot twist like that. 3. Game over. Mika Nui Ultimate Gamer. Executed. Mika is brought to a room with a console with it, and she was doomed to play it. The name was Danganronpa. She never heard anything about it. It must be a new game Amethyst or the mastermind made. It was a visual novel game, but also had a hint of mystery on it. It remembered Mika of her situation here, but while she kept playing there was a final level which was to kill one of your own classmates. Mika didn't want to repeat what she just did to. She doesn't want to repeat those memories. As the time passes and Mika tries to find another way to pass the level, the time ends and Mika loses a life. Rapidly spears come from the ground piercing Mika's body and she slowly dies there. The only person I can really see being the traitor is Robin Engel. I already stated this as a theory, but I'm gonna state it again. 1. Robin is said to be naive. In the Step on Me video, the words naive were near the traitor. 2. He's a lobotomist. Lobotomy fucks up people's minds. The name of the Fangan is loss of mind. It makes the most sense to me. Hear me out, BTS. This actually makes sense to me, kinda. Why Mika? She's the protag. She literally died in the last chapter, with the Morse's code saying that Amethyst wasn't real. I got the idea that she might be an AI or something in those words, and Mika is a gamer they are playing a death game arn. Also Mika's parents are rich, they could like rent is that the word the mall for her to do the killing game. Mika's dad is literally the ultimate inventor. He could create amethyst for Mika, or Mika just stole amethyst for the killing game. Lamau. Id how to explain it just makes sense in my smooth brain. Now for the survivors. Hugo would be the new protag after Mika died, since he would be the closest. Why did I make him survive, you might ask? I think in this situation, where you might go crazy, you might want to die as a way to try to escape this situation, but Hugo's bad luck wouldn't let Hugo die. So he could feel the despair of seeing many people die and go crazy in front of her eyes. Yes, Odo survives. Odo might seem the best person to die, beachy as she's so nice, but I letted her survive for some reasons. 1. I wanted either Odo or Nahishi to survive since they're a duo, but since I killed Nahishi, Odo gotta live. 2. There's too many nice people dying already. Victoria, Otoko. 3. Odo has a side we have not seen yet, a fierce side who puts people in their place. It would be useful to have someone sane like this who could put the crazy people on their place. I made Mizue survive beachy as well. I just feel like she wouldn't die. I see her being a Kyoko Kirigiri with a darker twist. Chapter 3 Coffee, just don't see her dying. Engel, I don't have much of a reason to. Okay, listen, I'm not being biased. I feel Tazarin genuinely has survivor vibes. First, he is friendless and likes to stay away from other people. I could see a character development for him to survive. Also, I can see him having a character development with him being more nice to Amaya. He's surviving for his sillies, Nahishi and Amaya. What I think each person is gonna be or could be protag that survives till the end. Late chapter Culprit, Mastermind. She's defo not surviving. I'm sorry. I see her being a victim. Also not surviving. He's too silly to live. I don't see him killing Engel, so victim. Traitor. I can see maybe him killing accidentally, as stated before, maybe a suicide. Again, I see her surviving. If not, I kinda see her as a culprit. Engel. I honestly only see them as a victim for the reasons I already stated. I can't imagine them killing someone, neither surviving the game. I do not think he's surviving. I see him being a culprit, as I stated before, someone who's supposed to protect people. Killing without themselves knowing is a crazy concept. I feel like she's surviving. Her dying feels too obvious. Engel. She ain't surviving. She has psychic powers, dude. I feel if she was the culprit, she would be too op. So that's why I feel like someone is gonna take a chance killing her. Survivor for the reasons stated before. I can also see him being a culprit, not gonna lie. She's too important to survive. Again, she's a victim because I don't see her being a culprit. Too angry to survive. Hedge. I kinda see him surviving if he gets character development, but I think he's killing. Survivor. I feel like anything else would be too obvious. Some people might say he will survive since both of his friends died, but I'm sorry, in the state he's in, he's the perfect person to be a culprit. 1. Lost 2 of his friends. 2. Bottles his emotions. 3. Has phobia of death. Yeah, he ain't surviving. She's too suspicious to live, and since she's a kid, I don't see her killing anyone, so victim. Honestly, I can see her surviving or being a victim. Honestly, I can see Charlotte being a mastermind to kinda. Honestly, she's a giant wild card. Hello again. The video already ended, but I would like to say thanks if you finished till here. This video took longer than I thought it would. So I hope you enjoyed my writing and predictions. Now I want to thank Rin for making this amazing series and all the amazing creators. Now it's time for this to really end. Bye.